What if a country smaller than the state of Maine once controlled an empire so vast that the sun literally never set on its territories? That this tiny nation of just 10 million people today gave the world one of its most revolutionary drugs, sparked countless wars, and created a language now spoken by over 500 million people. Colombia's story takes small packages with big attitudes to a whole new level. Picture this. You are trekking through the narrow Panamanian neck around 12,000 BCE, following herds of massive prehistoric mammals. You emerge into what will become Colombia, and what greets you? The second most biodiverse landscape on Earth. Only Brazil surpasses the sheer variety of life forms you would encounter here, from Caribbean beaches to Amazon rainforest, from snow-capped Andean peaks to vast eastern plains. This bulging tapestry of ecosystems would shape every civilization that followed. The early peoples who settled here were not just one group. They formed a mosaic of distinct cultures. Near modern-day San Agustín, a mysterious civilization emerged around 100 CE, joining that ancient obsession with carving massive stone monuments. Their statues show figures that look trapped in rock, desperately trying to escape, perhaps a metaphor we should not examine too closely. By 600 CE, the Quimbaya people were crafting rose-tinted gold and copper alloy statuettes with techniques that still baffle metallurgists today. While the Aztecs and Incas usually steal the spotlight, the Muisca civilization, also called the Chibcha, ranked among the most sophisticated societies in all the Americas. Unlike their stone-obsessed neighbors, the Muisca preferred smaller, rotund buildings of cane, clay, and wood. Do not let the humble materials fool you. These were master astronomers, skilled artisans, and they controlled something arguably more valuable than gold: salt and emerald mines. To this day, Colombia produces between 70 and 90% of the world's finest emeralds. The Muisca had some unpleasant neighbors, though. The Pijao people had a reputation that would make Vikings nervous: constant warfare, poison-tipped arrows coated with curare, and persistent rumors of cannibalism that may or may not have been Spanish propaganda. Then came 1499, when Europeans first sighted the Colombian coast. Despite the country being named after Christopher Columbus, the man never actually set foot on Colombian soil. Talk about taking credit for group projects. The Spanish conquest began in earnest in 1525, when Rodrigo de Bastidas founded Santa Marta on the northern coast. More cities sprouted like mushrooms after rain, including Bogota in 1538. What drove this abnormally rapid colonization? Somehow, various indigenous legends about gilded ceremonies got scrambled in Spanish minds into the myth of El Dorado, an entire city made of gold. The Muisca actually did have a ritual where their chief, covered in gold dust, would dive into Lake Guatavita. But a golden city? Pure fantasy. That did not stop conquistadors like Gonzalo Jiménez de Quesada from launching increasingly desperate expeditions into the jungle, finding death and disease instead of golden cities. Spain had still acquired a massive territory they called New Granada, and they intended to profit from it. This meant importing enslaved Africans to work farms and mines, one of history's most shameful chapters. While nothing could stem that ignoble tide, some individuals tried to ease the suffering. Pedro Claver, a Jesuit priest, devoted his life to helping enslaved people in Cartagena, earning sainthood for what he called his slavery to the slaves. For 2 centuries, Spain extracted enormous wealth from New Granada. So much wealth that in 1739, Britain literally declared war on Spain just to muscle in on the profits. They called it the War of Jenkins Ear, which sounds ridiculous until you realize it killed 25,000 people. Spanish victories at battles like Cartagena de Indias devastated British ambitions. But wars are expensive, and Spain raised taxes to pay for them. Those tax hikes sparked the Revolt of the Comuneros in 1781, and though Spain crushed it, the anger never dissipated. When Napoleon invaded Spain in 1808, Colombia saw its chance. On July 20th, 1810, a dispute over a flower vase, yes really, sparked riots in Bogotá that led to independence declarations. The revolution that followed gave us some of Latin America's most legendary figures. Francisco de Paula Santander, the man of laws, and Simón Bolívar, El Libertador himself, whose victory at the Battle of Boyacá in 1819 ensured Colombian independence. Bolívar dreamed of a unified Gran Colombia, stretching from Panama to Ecuador, but that dream shattered by 1831. What followed was a century of almost incomprehensible political violence. Liberals versus conservatives did not just mean debates. It meant civil wars that left hundreds of thousands dead. The War of 1,000 Days alone killed 100,000 people between 1899 and 1902. Then, the United States, wanting to build the Panama Canal, encouraged Panama to separate from Colombia in 1903. Colombia lost its most strategic territory overnight. The 20th century brought brief respites. A border war with Peru here, a period of relative peace there. But then came April 9th, 1948. The assassination of populist leader Jorge Eliécer Gaitán triggered La Violencia, a period so horrific that historians still struggle to describe it. This was not just political violence that killed 200,000 people. It was violence of such grotesque creativity that I will not detail it here. Suffice to say, it left scars on the national psyche that persist today. From this chaos emerged communist guerrilla groups like the FARC, right-wing paramilitary forces, and in the 1970s, something even more destabilizing, the cocaine trade. Pablo Escobar, the most infamous drug lord in history, built a multi-billion-dollar empire shipping cocaine to the United States. His charity work in poor neighborhoods of Medellín made him a Robin Hood figure to some. But his reign of terror included bombing airliners, assassinating presidential candidates, and killing thousands. When Colombian police finally shot him dead in 1993, Medellín's murder rate was 380 per 100,000, the highest on earth.